And we have 1 e2, e4 on the board by Ali Reza. Huge matchup. And I thought coming into the tournament that it would be a fight between these two players. They were the pre-tournament favorites, but it hasn't worked out
4-point difference
for Ali
between
Reza.
them right now.
Yeah,
it's mostly because Ali Reza didn't do well in the rapid portion.
exactly.
In Blitz, he did okay. He got 5 out of 9, which again, for him, it's not okay.
No,
we expect
+1 is
a lot more from him.
Exactly. Again, Joka piano, but a Hungarian system with the bishop on e7 is a very solid choice for black. It's a tad on the passive side in the sense that this bishop on e7 is not as active as its counterpart.
Mm-hmm. And, Magnus's approach is probably accurate because he doesn't have to play every game for a win now. He has a 2-point lead.
Right.
And he can let others come at him, and then he will get his chance.
Okay, bishop e6 kind of invites knight d5 because you're not allowed to take with the knight. Knight takes, e takes is a bit of
but
embarrassing.
We can take with the bishop.
Yeah, and then just a quick question. Shall we have a look-see? You're going to play knight b4, I think.
Yes, I want that pawn on d5.
And then I'm going to try to...
e4, maybe?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if you get a position like this, there are some
knight
tricks
f5, right? Yes,
that maybe you're not feeling happy about. But e4?
He didn't take, by the way. Yeah, e4, and then I went to take on d5.
And it's more or less a little bit balanced. I've got the two bishops. He did not capture h7, h6 by Magnus, right?
Yes, now we'll probably c3 with the idea of d4.
Absolutely. c3. Very sensible move.
What is black's next move? If we're not taking on d5, what is the plan?
Usually you're going rook e8, you're going bishop f8, you're just saying, you've got a knight on d5, congrats. Mm-hmm. What else you got? So rook e8, bishop f8, you're solid, you're just maybe bishop to g4, something to think about.
Solid, but quite passive for black.
Agreed. It's passive, but it's so hard to control a game from start to finish, right?
Especially with the black pieces?
Yeah, early initiative, I would say, Ali Reza is going to say, look, I came out of the opening with a nice advantage. I had something I can play with. Yes, says Magnus, but is it anything real? Queen b3. Okay, just kind of playing little tricks with Magnus. Is queen takes b7
Do you play
a big
rook
threat?
b8 or queen c8? How do you defend the pawn?
I defend the pawn. I'm not sure. I was waiting for Magnus. He was a little bit slow on the uptake.
You wanted him to answer the question.
Yeah, rook b8. I think queen c8, okay. You no longer have bishop f8.
Oh, that's
right?
a good point.
So h2, h3, just...
So I'll just delaying d4 a little bit.
Yeah. I'm expecting bishop f8. Again, just keeping the tension in the center. I'm not saying that knight e7 is a threat. No, that's the wrong
Can the
news.
other knight maybe head now to the queen side, knight d7? Since your queen's on b3, I could maybe jump there with a tempo.
That's a thought. Knight to d7 to c5.
But
I wanted to tuck my bishop in just because I'm always a little bit disconcerted by the move knight takes e7.
Right.
Now knight d7 to c5, that
White will
an
play
appeal.
d4, right? We've been saying, we've been waiting for this move. Sooner or later it's going to happen.
Exactly. When you do play the move knight d7, you do lose your pressure on e4.
All right, d5 finally taken. Now pawn takes.
What else? Knight e7, what else?
Knight goes to g6. And of course now we have to switch. Oh, I was going to say we need to drop our queen because it's not doing anything, but it's still doing something. You're going for the pawn.
I was pawn hunting. Bishop a7 in case of rook a8. Let's just... d5 is hanging, so
Maybe queen c8 now.
Right.
Yes, I can get my pawn back.
And
You do have pair of bishops.
in a funny kind of way, you drive me all the way back. There was a bishop on a7. Look at
They're following our line.
Yeah. Well, again, we don't get a chance to say this too often. We haven't been very good at predicting their moves. But today, they're playing well. Today.
This round, yeah.
Yeah. Queen takes b7. We expect queen c8. Magnus is winning his pawn back. But at the end of the day, 2 bishops, you think it's serious?
I don't think it's serious, but if we play this long enough, long term, 2 bishops will still have some advantage.
Well, if the players were reversed and Magnus had the 2 bishops, we would be sitting here saying, okay, Magnus has achieved his ideal.
That's true.
Knight b6. I think that was very well timed, just when the bishop has no chance of going to b5 and c6.
Yeah, we have to retreat to b3.
Exactly.
And now c5, c4 is coming very soon.
Again, very, very well timed.
And that's why black is not worse here, because they have very active play.
I'm dropping back with the bishop, and
maybe g6.
I just wanted to say, in case of c4, my bishops suddenly feel like they're starting to work, and maybe this knight is not so great, but you were not going to play c4. You were about to play g6?
Well, we see a question mark.
d4
has been played in a position where we least expected it.
Yeah.
Is it a... Okay, I mean, it makes sense because he has 2 bishops. He wants to open up the position. However, maybe he missed that black can close it up with e4.
The timing feels really, really bad to my eyes. Knight to c4, and suddenly this knight on b6, it was a little bit marooned, I want to say.
Knight d5 now? Well, let's bring another knight.
e4 pawn?
I was so excited to just...
I know. A g6 is a kind of a temporary temporizer. Keep that knight out, d5, but I like also, if I could use that square d5, that would be very, very nice.
Wait. I can play knight d5. Rook e4, knight c3, and then knight d2. I win a piece.
You're right. Bishop to d5. You win an exchange. Yes. G7, G6, but I think the move knight d5 is still on tap. Maybe including rook b8, followed by knight d5. Okay, something has gone wrong for Alireza now.
Now knight d5 is still possible.
Yeah, I feel that with rook b8 and knight d5, Magnus...
Initiative for black.
Yes, exactly. Uh-oh.
We know what happens when Magnus gets the initiative.
Usually it's not a good sign. Clock times?
They have about the same time, 1 minute and 45 seconds.
So I felt like Alireza came out with a little bit of something out of the opening, but that advantage has disappeared.
Badly timed.
Exactly. d4 was the culprit.
I think Magnus is calculating knight d5.
It's easy for us in studio. I'm sitting there saying, he did play knight d5 on cue, if you will. But if you don't play knight d5, the move I would find attractive as d6, d5, with the idea just bringing the bishop. Bringing the bishop out to b4. But
this is a tough choice. Do you improve your knight or your bishop?
Exactly.
And you have about 20 seconds to figure it out.
Less.
Yes. Now, this is unpleasant for white, for sure. What do we do? Rook c1, maybe?
Okay.
I'm not happy,
c1,
though.
No.
I have 2 bishops, and both of them are sitting there passively. And the knight on h4 is out of play as well. So just maybe we should show the audience why rook e4 is not a good move.
Okay. Rook e4.
Why the pawn isn't hanging?
You told me that you would get me from behind with the move knight d2, attacking the rook, attacking the bishop. The bishop would go to d5. I would win the exchange, and in the resulting position, you only have 1 pawn, and the rooks are very, very active.
Yes.
He has played rook c1, and definitely Magnus in the driver's seat.
Rook b8 looks beautiful.
Rook b8 is...
He's about to play it.
Absolutely.
I think now we have to take on c4, right?
He played a5. Bishop a2.
I just noticed he could have taken on c4 and the pawn on a5 was hanging, but black can pick up any of the pawns. a4, b2, d4.
b2, a4, that's a tempo. Yeah, bishop a2. Things are going better and better for Magnus. Knight takes c3.
Oh, rook takes.
Knight takes b2.
d5.
Perhaps?
And an update, Wesley has drawn his game against Pragnananda.
d5 followed by bishop c3.
Ooh. Looking good.
Knight takes b2, rook takes c8.
He's played d5.
d5.
This is a position where improving your bishop is more important than snatching a pawn on b2.
Well, for sure. And remember, it's 4 rooks, but also do measure the difference of quality between the minor piece, the knight on h4, which needs 2, 3 moves to get back into play, versus this bishop, which can suddenly parachute
I'm
into
also
position.
looking at that d4 pawn is unprotected. Bishop g7, right?
Perfectly timed. Yeah, nice. I was about to... I wanted to go back with the knight to b6, give me this pawn.
Oh, but looks like rook c4 was a mistake that Magnus should have taken with the pawn instead. But
it still looks good, though, doesn't it?
Yes. If Alireza took rook e4, somehow Engine was saying it wasn't so bad. To us, it looks lost.
I think Magnus... Clock time, sorry?
Oh, I didn't notice. Alireza's down to 5 seconds. Very long time. Magnus still has about 27.
But this sure looks dominating. He's just won a pawn. The bishop is fabulous. No, actually, it goes like this. 3 words. The bishop is fabulous. Are we playing c3?
Bishop.
Are we playing c3?
c3 looks good.
F5.
But there's no... Wait, c4 is hanging. I forgot.
But we've got rook to d2. Whoa.
Alireza had knight e3, but he just played with 1 second.
1 second?
Yeah.
Okay,
he's bad now.
Magnus is cruising now.
Yes, he missed the 1 move, knight e3, Alireza, but no time on the clock.
2 connected pass pawns for black. That should
just e3
do it.
now, f4.
Should do it. You can't take on f5. I've got rook f2 check. Comes back. You can't take on f4. I've got rook f2 check.
He sacked his knight to take some pawns, but
and there's
resigns.
handshake.